chapter 9 we are talking about, tiba saya pula blank, padahal baru cover dia, project quality and so on, right? So those are to wrap up actually what we have covered from chapter 1 to chapter from the first day until the week 10. Okay, tu yang chapter 9 is about. 11 and 11, chapter 10 and 11 are more on how to deal with people, leadership, the emotional, the team members and so on. Okay, so this is important because it will cover up what you have learned for all those 10 weeks before, right? So I'm sharing with you, okay, since that only 34 of you, okay, later in between, I'm going to share with you what are, because due to the arrangement, not the arrangement, actually, the date, okay, the public holiday and so on. So I make some changes on the work schedule, and also we're going to have another session, okay, the guest lecture. Guest lecture we import, guest lecture yang import okay, import daripada US, face to face to meet you guys, okay, to teach about the computing project, about the agile and scrum and so on. So that one I will brief you during halfway through session nanti dalam pukul 5. Okay, sekarang 4:17 kan. Okay, then we continue with chapter 9. Alright, so for last week, okay, sorry, for, sekejap, mana saya punya ni ya, wait, I'm sharing, okay, last 2 weeks, we covered chapter 8, mata pelajaran, okay, pelajaran pula ni. Okay, last 2 weeks we covered on managing quality, chapter 7, if you can remember, right? Make sure you remember that, because that one in that chapter 7, you learn how to manage the project risk. It's not project quality, sorry, it's a project risk, and we have a framework, and under that framework, all the possible risks, and under that, in order to manage all those risks, okay, there are 6 stages, right? To analyze, to plan the project risk and so on. And in that chapter 7, okay, just to recap, just to refresh, in that chapter 7, you guys have to identify, okay, be able to read through what chapter 7 is about, and take the important of main point, example of project risk. Okay, that might happen when you develop a project regarding the information system. Baca chapter 7, take example of the chapter 7, risk that involve, that we mentioned in that project, in that chapters, and make analysis which is the most suitable that apply to you, right? And you explain in details how that one will be related with your project. Okay, alright. So group project kena identify risk, and you need to plan to give how to minimize that risk. Tu jangan lupa that one kena ada dalam your group project. Okay, alright. Managing project stakeholders and communication, chapter 8. Okay, sekarang ni result draft pertama jadual waktu peperiksaan dah keluar dah Nanti saya tengok bila kita nak buat ISP640. Okay, so in chapter 8, okay, knowing what are the risks and so on. In any project, if you have any problem, challenges, issues regarding the project risk, okay, sekejap, mana ni, hilang-hilang dah, regarding the project risk, so we need to have a good communication, okay, you need to manage what the project stakeholders within your project, and how to communicate effectively. We want to exchange information, make sure everybody have the same direction, make sure that you update the progress, monitor the quality, and so on. Okay, all those are through communication. So you need to make sure you know what are the framework of the communication plan and so on. So inilah chapters that you will learn about that, right? So here, okay, you need to understand when we talk about the organization, there will be informal and formal organization. Okay, informal organization, it can be there is a not really emphasize on change of command. Okay, decision making, the hierarchy, dia tak ada. Walaupun dekat family, contohnya, okay, in the family, they will be considered as informal organisation. Right? Satu organisasi, bukanlah satu organisasi, a kelompok of social interaction. We know there is a father, mother, but there is a, shouldn't not emphasize on the decision making area, alright, change of command, who to report to, when to report, is not being emphasized, kan? Tapi still ada. Another informal organisation, it will be your social interaction with your friend and so on. So between these two, there will be a difference. Okay, how the governance, how the communication will be different between, of course, informal and formal. And with that, you need to identify the stakeholders, people who might have interest in your project. So you need to really know who are the stakeholders in your project. And with that stakeholders, you need to identify their functionality. Okay, what are their functionality? How strong their influence in the project? So you need to tackle after know their influence in the project. So bolehlah tackle. Okay, bila nak what kind of communication plan, that what kind of communication tools that you need to use, how often, and so on. So that one, you need to develop a stakeholders analysis. We're going to look into that later. And for these chapters also, you will understand what are the project communication plan will be, how to develop, what it consists of. Okay, here you need to pay particular attention because it will be, okay, we want to see it in your group project, related to your project. What is your project communication plan will be, okay, regarding your system development and so on, right? And for that one, you need to apply several types of reporting tools. Okay, under this communication plan, what are the reporting tools will be used for each stakeholders? And, okay, and last but not least, after you know what are the communication plan, now you want to monitor the communication. Okay, now you want to monitor the communication and you want to, basically when the project is happening, it's more on, you want to know the progress of the project. Right, when you execute the project, dah start dengan kerja dan sebagainya, dah start dengan the implementation of the project, you want to know the earned value, whatever you invest, okay, during the execution of the project. Okay, especially when you hire people outside, okay, to work for you, or you are the group of people who work to develop for any specific company. Okay, you will be paid accordingly based on the milestone. So whatever your plan for each task, okay, how much that you invest, how much you pay, is it the same value that you got, the earned value that you got? Sama tak the value? Awak bayar 8,000, betul ke value that the task be completed also bernilai 8,000, for example? Okay, so this is the technique. Okay, the method I will teach you, I will explain to you how the technique being used, okay, which is called earned value. I believe that your lecturers, actually Puan Nazira, Cik Nazira and also Cik Farah ke? I rasa Cik Farah ataupun Cik Farah, Puan Farah actually already brief you on how to do the tutorial regarding the earned value, right? Okay, so and how the information may be distributed. Okay, how the IT will be used to help you to disseminate the information. The progress report, for example, the how to share, update information regarding the project. Okay, how the technology will be used. Okay, that one kita akan learn towards the end of the chapters. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, any question? Sekarang ni saya dah share, nampak ke?
Nampak, Madam.
Nampak kan? Okay, how many of you online? 36 of you. I think more are coming, of course, kan? Kena hadir hari ni. Okay, just to remind you guys, please go to YouFuture. Okay, make sure everybody register for your attendance today. Okay, sebab saya perasan ramai tak register, ramai tak klik, banyak ketidakhadiran. I kena alignkan with the report that I got from the tutorial session. Kalian dapat nanti, sekarang ni kami tengah sibuk mengeluarkan email to request surat tunjuk sebab daripada student who are more than 80%. I know some of you forgot to tick your attendance. Okay, so I will keep reminding, please make sure that, because that go for my session, go to YouFuture. Sebab saya memang tak larat nak tengok satu-satu what I mentioned. Saya based on that. Yeah, pergi, it will be open from 4 to 6 today. Okay. So, can I just proceed? Okay, here this is just to refresh about what the organizational structure available of the organizational structure, and also the governance of the project itself. So some organizational structure we can use can be governed based on the functionality. This is in chapter 4. Right, based on whether it is a department, science department, marketing department, sales department, and so on, or it can be, for example, a mix based on the departments, and also will be a hybrid. People are mix of the various department, and the leaders will be the people that is the most dominant, the project that is most dominant to that particular departments. But people can be a combination of a different department, that is called matrix. Okay, or it can be project based. So this one, what you have learned in chapter 4, of course, will relate to the decision making structure of the organization, or of the decision making structure of the project itself, right? So it can be based on this one is the command, change of command. Ni line-line ni semua ni, this is a change of command, right? For this one and this one, right? In the project is mixed and so on. Okay, so you need to really understand what are the different. Based on that, then only you will be able to draft the project communication plan. Okay, according to their position, their authority, and the formal line of decision making. Okay, ataupun arahan, instruction, right? So for the informal, okay, it can bypass of all those just now, because in informal, just imagine yourself in a group. You are you work in the same department, it's very formal. Tapi ada lagi aktiviti luar. You ada satu lagi WhatsApp group. For example, WhatsApp group sembang-sembang hacking. Everybody like everybody who likes to do hiking, okay? In the department, maybe they form one group based on their hobby. So this group is informal, considered informal because lots of grapevine, right? Macam bergosip, you can okay, you can chit chat and so on, share your opinion, all those things. And it can be more complex because relationship can be established from positive and negative over time. Why? Because through this informal, normally it involve emotional feeling, right? Kadang-kadang kecil hati tak ajak pergi hiking hari ni, esoknya tahu kecil hati some of the team, right? Tak jemput, all those kind of thing. And this, why it keep being emphasized here, because the informal, of course, can affect the formal, how you perform in the formal organization. So when you as a project manager, you know that they are, when you talk about people emotional is changes over time, right? You should be able to manage. Mungkin dekat dalam in the project you are the leader, tapi dalam group hiking, group mesyuarat tingkap, for example, there will be another people, right, yang be a leader, yang buat decision nak makan mana and so on. So you need to distinguish these two differences, right? And also not only you as a project manager, but also the team members of that, right? So kena ada, there should be a what we call it separation. There should be a line, the formal and informal. Okay, what is the stakeholders? Okay, people who have stake or claim in the project, who have interest in the project, whether the project success or not success, dia ada penlibatan. It can be indirect, it can be direct participation. Okay, how that one will be, okay, I will explain to you later, right? Okay, so far, how do you have any question? Abdullah Iskandar?
Saya.
Iskandar ada? Okay, Iskandar dekat mana Iskandar?
Saya dekat college.
Oh, okay, inilah ni semua Part 6 kan? Okay, many of you in the college and some of you also in the kat rumah dan rumah sewa dan sebagainya. Okay, so any question Iskandar?
So far no questions, Doctor.
Alright, okay, thank you. Panjang nama Iskandar ni. Abdullah Iskandar Amin bin Muhammad.
Saya. Betul.
Okay, nama ayah tu disebut lagi sekali dalam nama awak alright, because dia nak carry nama dia di dalam your name.
Legacy.
Apa dia legacy
Ya betul.
Alright. Okay. Memang saya ada kawan pun macam tu juga. Dia ada nama, dia perempuan. Tapi nama ayah dia Harun. Dalam nama dia pun ada Harun juga. Okay. Alright. Stakeholders analysis process. So we have a list of stakeholders. For your project, you need to identify who are the stakeholders who have an interest in your project, right? And in that, you might have a long list. Okay, maybe it consists of 10, 5, 10, 15, and so on. Depends how big the project will be. And you need to identify you need to estimate their score of interest. Okay, it can be from 1, positive 1 to negative 1. Positive 1, positive interest. 0, natural. Negative 1 is a negative interest. Negative interest meaning that they will have a negative influence in your project. Okay, you might need to list them out also, because if there is anything you think that the people might involve, especially XX staff yang diberhentikan, yang ada record and so on. Okay, you need to maybe be careful and so on lah, right? Okay. So for that, if they have the interest, okay, you need to further identify their influence. It can be 0 to no influence at all, or 10 to be highly influenced. They have so strong, the influence are so strong until they can have the power to terminate the project. For example, is your project sponsor itself. So, saya tak bawa, saya kat bilik ni. Kosong pula. Alright. So for this one, it can be project champion, it can be consultant, it can be the team members, ally, rival, foe. Okay, ini semua pun you just list whoever have a decision maker who lead the project. Okay, you just list it down. For example, this is example of your project stakeholders analysis. Okay, for this one, you need to do this for your group project later. Kena includekan macam ni. Baca, read chapter 8, read through the details and adjust accordingly how you want to align with your project. So if you have 5 team members, identify each one, list down each one. And if you have any expert that you want to hire, list down also. And you think if you have a competitors, maybe you can list down your competitors as well, right? So it can be stakeholders, interest, +1, +1, +1. Only that will slip -1, right? Sebab dia pernah as a marketing manager, Slate is not pleased that his project was chosen over his proposed project. So dia berhenti kerja. So it can be phony, it can be have maybe, okay, build and maintain base possible initiative to minimize attempts to divert resources. So you suspect he might probably jeopardize your project, maybe, okay. So interest, that don't have any interest, but that can influence. You think they can be able to influence. So, so influence can be based on your analysis expert, your expertise. For example, your as a project manager, awak determine from 0 to 10. Who should be, what is their score of the influence based on their background, potential background, and based on their functionality, your job scope and so on. So read through what are the possible conflicts that might happen, what are their tasks in that project, what is basically their objective, their project, the task itself, and the strategy in the communication. Okay, their strategy in dealing with the project. Okay, list down. Terus saya ni, saya dah banyak, meeting one after another actually. Okay, bercakap tak habis. And all the strategy that will be linked to the each team members of your project, right? So read through and do it. Okay, you need to include the stakeholders analysis for your group. And how you want to monitor and control the project. Okay, regardless of how well a project is planned, unexpected situation will require adjustment. Okay, one thing, okay, when the project is risky. Okay, in chapter 1, we will see you will already been exposed to the factors of that contribute to the unsuccessful of the project. And some of the factors happen because it's lack of control. Okay, the scope creep, the people are not working, actually the team members not working, you have to control from the very beginning, right? So a good project need to be monitored and controlled from the very beginning. And some of the technique, okay, the method that will be used will be explained here in this chapter, right? So first of all, you will need to identify the stakeholders on the project. Okay, awak dah tahu dah dia punya influence. You need to identify their interest in the project. Then for each one that have a positive interest, of course you need to communicate effectively with them. So for those who have positive interest, okay, yang positif sajalah yang kena masuk dalam project communication plan, yang zero or negative one tak perlu, right? So in the project communication plan, it is like a matrix, okay, which show who, what, how, when, and also what the format will be. Your communication plan will be able to answer these 5 questions. Right? Who has specific information needs? What are those needs? Okay, apa dia? How will these needs be met? When can they expect the information? Okay, how often you need to communicate? What will be the format is? Okay, in order to do that, okay, this is example of the project communication plan. Okay, hopefully you all follow me from beginning until now. Okay, everybody should be able to understand. Okay, right, aside from stakeholder analysis, this another one, the project communication plan also need to be included in your group project. Again, make sure you read chapter 8, understand and build up your own project communication plan based on the needs of the project system, based on the needs of the system that you develop, and based on the needs of the team members of the project itself. Yeah, kena buat, fahamkan, baca and develop your own. So these are 2 things that you need to focus and do it for your group, right? Okay, example here, stakeholders, okay, sponsor or client, list down whoever, just now based on the stakeholder analysis, those who have positive one, your list down here. But for your project, here in the example, they just put project team, right? But for your project, you have to list down each team members. Okay, for example, programmer, 1 row. Business analyst, 1 row. Database administrator, 1 row. All those things. And okay, those are to answer question number 1. Who? Example. And what are the reporting requirements needed? What are the information that you need to include when they communicate formally with all those things, okay, among each other regarding the project. Okay, so kena ada during periodic review meetings, okay, reporting requirement, this is the time frame. This is when. Reporting requirement talk about when. If you think in the sponsor itself, right, maybe once a month during the task, first milestone. But for the project team, maybe you need to talk to them, the progress reporting maybe once a week. But informal, chit-chat dan sebagainya, without any proper documentation, maybe you have to do it every day. Right? Tapi yang ni kena, the formal will be maybe once a week. Right? And among the team member itself, you and your other programmer, for example, maybe you need to talk every day. You need to update in the project charter, for example, update in the project management software. You need to update frequently. So among the team member itself, maybe every day. So it depends the requirement of your project. So what kind of information? List down. Maybe this one is not so detailed, but maybe you can list down your progress, everyday progress on the development, the requirement analysis progress, the design progress, and so on, right? And why you think that those are the information you think that is necessary to be reported and to be communicated, right? So list down, also provide your reason. Okay, so so this is the project communication plan. Okay, basically ini yang saya cakap tadi lah, baca balik stakeholders, how, who, when, okay, what are the information requirement, when you want to the needs of the requirement, how often you need, what are the type of report metrics, timing, ability, okay, sorry, this is when, this is what, right? And through how you want to report, how you want to communicate. Okay, those 5 things, those 5 questions need to be answered in your state that in your project communication plan, right? Okay, and of course when you talk about the project itself, okay, when you want to monitor, you got to come up with some numbers. Okay, along the way, okay, the project metrics are qualitative measurements of the attribute of the project, which you want to look into the scope itself. What are the scope? When to complete? What are the budget that might involve? How much? Who will be involved? What kind of technology? How to monitor the quality? And also, what are the risks that you need to avoid, or what are the risks that might happen that you need to solve? Okay, so when you develop a project matrix to measure, okay, you already learn about this in your MOV, measurable organizational value. It mentioned about the matrix. Kena tambah lah, okay, whether it is based on you want to measure success, it will be on sales, it will be on how many product that you sell, it will be how fast, how much time that you solve, how much time that you save when you develop a system, for example. Okay, so those are the metrics. Okay. Any question so far? Nurul Husna? Nurul Husna ada? Tak ada lah. Ni kat mana you all lah? Sekejap 6A, 6B. 6A student class 6A, are you here? 6A?
I'm here.
Ada Zikri ada Zikri? Zikri ada tak?
Ada, doktor.
Zikri, how are you doing, Zikri?
Fine. Okay,
Okay. Zikri bagus sebab dia ni be what we call the AJK for our guest lecture talk and the team. Okay, thank you. Nanti I'm going to talk to you about that, Zikri, later.
Mantap.
Right. Okay, anyway, thank you very much for helping out this program, right? Okay, so yang lain, okay, a good project metric when you want to measure, of course, it need to be understandable. Okay, meaning that what the purpose is, what is the meaning of sales, for example, people know. Okay, in the team they know. Quantifiable, meaning that it can be quantified. Easy, very objective. When talk about sales, you know sales is being facts and figure, right? And it is very effective, easy, and not expensive to create. The metrics that you want to use, for example, okay, like what I mentioned, you want to know the sales of the product, for that particular month. So easy to take the project, easy to take to get the data, and easy to measure as well. Okay, and it can be proven, meaning that there will be a data that back up that. You know that if you want to get the sales, of course you can get the report of your transaction through your e-commerce. How much people buy, how much people pay, the transaction into the banking, the transaction, the ordering through your the platform itself, all those things. And also it will be high impact. The measurable organizational value, okay, it may be things that give us significant impact. Kalau tak ada impact, tak payah buat project. That is the basis for involving in a project. Tu yang saya mention kan. Okay. Mula-mula when you choose the project, okay, make sure that there will be a high MOV. Okay. The impact of to the organization and so on. Okay, so when you want to measure the project success, the project system, the project the project what we call that flow, project flow, performance of the project. Okay, so let the team itself decide how to measure. Let them plan accordingly, right? It got to be allowed the team to gauge its own progress, meaning that the team itself will measure and will monitor. They will be responsible with their own project, and with all the progress, they are responsible to report, to communicate with the project sponsor, for example. Okay, allow that. And make sure it will be designed by the project team itself. Let them create their MOV, create their impact, successfulness, create their own project monitoring technique and so on, right? And adopt and use only a handful of measurement techniques that can be done cost effective and so on, and be able to track result and progress. Okay, with facts and figure, right? So, in order to do that, I already informed you last time. Okay, for your project, when it comes to the education, of course, okay, the project management office, all those software of project monitoring is very important. Okay, you can use a on-shelf product, for example, Trello, ClickUp, lagi apa banyak, ada banyak tapi saya selalu ingat dua ni je, right? Project Management Office, okay, Open Project Office, Open Project, all those, you can use anything that might be suitable. And they can do a visualization of the progress of the project, okay? Which you need to start with the visualization of your Gantt chart of the project. Okay, use all this software you can buat, right? And do the prediction when the work will be completed with all those budget. You need to provide an update in the system. So the system will help you to plot when is and do the notification if you are overdue and so on. Okay, the system will help you to monitor, okay, to automatically monitor, right? So this one is one, for example, right? One way just to visualize to you, okay? The Open Office, they can get, for example, the solid line here. It shows what the planned value is, especially when you develop a project. Of course, okay, when you develop a project, you will use a iteration. Okay, develop a system, for example, you do the iteration technique, which you develop phase 1, prototype 1, and then when you design, you go back to the user and ask them to check the design, is it correct or not, and so on, right? And if not fulfilled, they said that some of the things are not function. I already mentioned to you, you need to include some of the report. Tapi awak lupa nak masukkan requirement that. So you can go back to the stage 1 of the requirement identification. But here in this one, it shows you when the iteration, okay, is not that only involve 1, 2, 3, okay, iteration. So the time will be shorter. Okay, maybe satu iteration aja shorter with what you plan. But if there are many burn rate, velocity, features and so on, dia akan jadi drag. Your time will be drag, right? So here, based on the system, based on your schedule and the type of task, the system will help you to visualize what's to be expected and so on. Maknanya kalau nak buat monitoring of this iteration stage and involve 4, 5, 6 stages, macam ni lah awak kena spend, for example. Okay, the more the functionality will be, the more time you need to spend on the project development, example, right? Okay, that is about one way of project monitoring. Okay, this one I believe that the one that you already do the tutorial with your lecturer. Okay, Aizat, you are in which group? Aizat Yunus?
Yeah.
Awak dalam group 6A
6A.
Okay, who's your lecturer actually, Aizat?
Hello?
Oh, bukan, your lecturer for your tutorial session.
Madam Farah.
Madam Farah. Madam Farah dah cover tutorial for chapter 8.
Sudah.
Okay. So basically, the tutorial basically is about the earn value, right? Whether the project is to monitor the project, whether the project is on time, whether the project is behind schedule, or the project is over what we call early finish time and so on, right? So this is one of the technique. Sebab awak dah buat, senang sikit lah bila saya ngajar, and I think that Aizat, Puan Farah dia mention ke the example here? Ada ke dia mention? Ni, dia tak ajar tak yang ni part ni? Example here.
Tutorial tu ada sampel untuk jawab.
Oh, sampel jawab kan? Yang ni tak adalah, dekat teks punya example tak ada
Tak ada.
Aizat tengah mengingatkan apa benda apa Dr. PM Madam Farah ajar last week. Right? Okay. So this is project schedule, budget, schedule and task. Imagine this is the example. The project costs about 40,000. The duration of the project is 4 months. And they have 20 subtasks, which is evenly divided over 4 months. So basically, based on these 20 tasks, for easy calculation for the students, okay, we divide evenly. So 20 divide into 4 months, you have about 40,000 divide into 20 tasks. So plus minus, there will be approximately 2,000 per task. And for this 20 tasks, you have 4 months, so approximately 5 tasks per month. Okay, this is the condition. If you put in table form, it's much more easier to remember to see. Okay, so tasks, do you have 5 tasks? Total for month 1 is 2,000, 2,000 ringgit per task, 10,000 overall for each month, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Overall total will be 40,000. All right, for each one of those, this is the condition of the project, right? So now you are at the month 1, which you target 5 tasks to be completed. And you total of all those tasks that you need to pay your project, your consultant is 10,000, right? So in earned value, first of all, you want to monitor whether the project is according to what you plan here, right? So you need to understand the element under that earned value method, okay, which call the concept itself. So as simple as planned value, what you plan ahead. So your plan will be each task is 2,000 and each month will cost you about 10,000. So you already also make sure you understand what BAC is, budget at completion, which your target will be 40,000 budget of completion. And that is also the total, known as total cumulative plan value. Okay, maksudnya plan value ni campur lah 10, 10, 10, 10. For months, it is known as a 40,000. So this how it looks like in a very nice straight solid line for each month. For 4 months, this is in thousand, this is in month, and you target for the everything will be here is a 1 milestone, 2nd milestone, 3 milestone, 4 milestone, 4 significant events that might be included in the project. Right. So that's the situation, the basic things that you need to understand. So, okay, the project already started, and during month 1, you receive the following invoice, which shows you hired DV, Chitam, and Hovi company. So they give you the invoice, amount due is 8,000, and they ask you to pay immediately. So awak pun bila tengok, you fikir, 10,000, actually we plan 10,000. This is cheap, 8,000. Okay, awak dah suka dah. Demand. Okay, however, you need to look further. We expected 10,000, but we are only billed 8,000. So this, the other 2,000, what happened? Okay, what happened to the other 2,000? Is it memang ada penjimatan di situ, or there is something wrong with the project, right? So you look further in the invoice. Bila tengok invoice, you see already here there is a problem. For example, work completed, you plan 4 tasks completed, but only 3 tasks completed. You plan task 1, task 2, task 3 will cost you about 2,000 for each one. But here, task 1 only 2,000. Task 2 naik 3,000. Task 3 naik 3,000. So there is an increase of the cost of your what we call that, of your consultant that you hired. Okay, dia pun cakap lah ada masalah. My programmer is sick. They need to hire another programmer, and that programmer charge more, for example, right? So those are the problem that might lead to this. Tapi whatever problem that they have in your company, of course it will relate to you. This is how it relates, right? So you know there is a problem now in month 1. So awak nampak dah dia ada divert your plan. Yang divert a little bit there, a dotted line and the solid line, those are your loss. Sekarang ni kita nak naikkan balik pada what your plan here, what your plan will be. So in order to put it back in what your plan will be, so you need to do some intervention. Okay, do the some intervention, meaning that you need to study again how much actually you have spent, what are the actual value that you actually get from the money you spend. So, dan berapa banyak that you need to inject the money more to make sure for the next month it will follow your schedule. Right. So for that one, you need to identify certain elements. Okay, in this technique, okay, you need to identify the formula, the factors under the earned value concept. So make sure you know what the actual cost is, the actual cost that happened, that been given to you. That is the actual cost of that execution. So the actual cost will be 8,000 based on the situation. And earn value based on the actual amount that you pay, how much actually that you got. Awak bayar 8,000. Are you sure you actually got 8,000 value of the task? So the earned value will be a performance measurement that tell us how much the budget we should have spent for the work that was completed. So actually, if they only completed 3 tasks, so for originally you plan for each task cost you about 2,000. So sekarang ni sepatutnya the value that you got, instead of you pay 8,000, but you only got value of 6,000 value of task only. So awak lost about 2,000. Memang awak dalam kerugian lah. Right? So you know that this is what we plan to pay 10,000. What we have to pay only 8,000. What we should pay, the earned value based on only 3 tasks is 6,000. This is how you do the analysis. Okay. Right? So now you know, of course, sekarang ni dah ketinggalan banyak. Awak dah rugi 2,000. Lepas tu ada lagi 2 task yang tak complete. Yang tak start maybe. So, how to do about? Okay. So, you as a project manager, you need to intervene. So, in do the intervention, you need to further calculate what are the cost variance. Okay, first of all, you need to know the differences, the thing that you lost originally from the planned value. So first of all, you need to know how much that you actually lost. Okay, so you need to know the cost variance. Cost variance is earned value that you expect minus the actual cost. Okay, here the student always got confused. Make sure you know what is the meaning of the earned value, what is the definition of actual value. Sometimes in the question, they just give you the numbers. You have to identify which numbers is actually represent earned value, which numbers represent actual value. Kadang-kadang terbalik, awak terabat ambil salah value. Salah semua. Okay, normally question A, B, C, D, E will be related or related. Once you take the wrong value, you got it wrong at the part A, the others you will get wrong also, the others part, right? So make sure you know the value, you take the correct value. If it shows negative value, it will be over budget. If it shows the positive value, meaning that your earned value is much higher than the actual cost, so you are under budget. Okay, bagus lah, ada penjimatan kat situ, right? So value 0 is right on budget. Okay, normally as a project members, you want as a project manager, you want a 0. Maknanya apa you plan is what you got. Okay, awak tak nak terlebih sangat, awak tak nak kurang sangat. Okay, so the good thing is maybe you got 0, right? So now you want to know what are the index in terms of ratio for each dollars that you spend, how much actually that you got, the productivity, the performance index of every single ringgit that you spend. So that one you need to calculate the CPI, which for the CPI is equivalent to EV, earned value, divide into EC, actual cost. If the value that you calculate take 2 decimal points, if the number is quite long, for example, quite big, okay, if it is more than 1, it is ahead of budget. Ahead of budget meaning that awak jimat banyak. Okay, you get more than what you allocate. It's very productive, your team, for example. Okay, they do more. So if it is the ratio is less than 1, it shows that it is a behind budget. Meaning that awak dah terlebih bayar dah sebenarnya. The productivity is very low, for example. Okay, again, if it's 1, it is right on budget. So this is how it calculates cost variance E earned value minus actual cost negative 2,000. So it shows that it is over budget. So for the cost performance index, if it is for each dollars that you spend, okay, you will get 0.75. So based on the rules of thumb just now, it is for every, if it is more than 1, okay, less than 1 meaning that it is a over budget, right? So you only got back, the productivity level is only 0.75. The other 0.25 loss. It is a loss for your project. So kena tanggung rugi lah, right? So that is about the budget itself, the productivity. Now we want to know the schedule in terms of time. How much we behind schedule? Okay, since that the calculation memang schedules ke budget ke is all based on the how much you spend. So the schedule also will be in terms of the dollar. So schedule variance is about the same, EV minus PV, earned value minus planned value. Okay, the rules of thumb, the explanation will be about the same. If it is negative, it is behind schedule. If it is positive, it is ahead of schedule. Value 0 means the project is right on schedule. And also the same when we want to know the productivity for each RM1 that you spend. So CPI, the ratio, earned value divided into planned value. Okay, if it is more than 1 ahead of schedule, less than 1 behind schedule, right 1 is right on schedule. Okay, so it is similar with the explanation with the condition and explanation similar with the budget variance just now. So you calculate, right, the earned value is 6 to 4. So in terms of schedule, dia lebih. Maknanya masa tu dah terlari banyak dah. Alright, because you have another 2 tasks not being completed. So you run out of time. Okay, that value negative 4,000. Alright, in terms of budget just now 2,000 je kan. Schedule, you lost more. Right? So in terms of the performance of the productivity in terms of time, you only managed to get 0.6. Another 0.4 is something that is not productive. Okay, you lost that. Okay, tak buat betul-betul. Banyak MC, programmer got MC many days, for example. So they didn't function it well. So you put it all in a what we call that a table like this. Senang nak tengok cumulative, plan value 10, and just extend a little bit. Cost variance 2,000, schedule variance negative 4. So if you want to measure the ratio 0.75 in terms of the budget, in terms of the cost, but for schedule is 0.6, right? So estimate. So now you already know how much you lost and so on. So now you want to counter back. So you want to make sure that your plan now is for month 1 is you already lost. So for month 2, month 3, month 4, you want to make a correct calculation. and you want to make sure that align with what it's supposed to be. So you have estimate at completion. You recalculate again how much, how fast, how much budget are needed to complete the project accordingly, right? So in calculate the estimate at completion, okay, there are two type of variances situation, okay. One is typical variances where you think that the problems will continue for the remainder of the project. Alright, maybe you plan accordingly. Maknanya takut benda tu akan berlaku lagi. For example, alright, so you can manage accordingly. You already prepare in advance. For example, people got sick. Kadang-kadang berlaku lagi tak orang ni, orang lain pula demam. You cannot expect people in a great shape for the straight 6 months, for example. Okay, you might expect some people are not productive on the certain days, example, right? So you make some generalization. So for that one, a typical variances, so you just plot cumulative actual cost 8,000, budget at completion 40,000 minus cumulative earned value that you already calculate for the month 1 and cumulative CPI that you already got. So you need to spend at the end, in order to finish the project, you need to spend about 53,000, 333.33. Okay, this is your estimation. So this is when, last time I already mentioned to you, you need to plan accordingly the contingency reserve. You need to allocate some contingency. This is when some budget that you allocate for the contingency, ada benda yang tak dapat dielakkan and so on. Inilah yang akan cover for you if something happen towards the project, because it is normal to have this. Okay, sometimes it's uncontrollable, sometimes it's controllable, so just be prepared, right? Okay, but if a typical variances, you think that the problems that occurred in month 1 will not be continued. For example, your project manager, your programmers quit the job. So you need to hire another programmers, and for these programmers, of course, you expect that none of you in the project team will not leave the project until the project completed. So you prepare in advance. You prepare in advance, you do some contract, okay, you hired people with more money and so on. But later, the project will not, the problem will not be continued, at least. Okay, awak dah buat lah awal-awal ni 65,000. Okay, so dia macam tinggi sikit. Okay, normally a typical variances that you believe the variances, the problem accounted so far will not continue for the remainder of the project. So one time you spend a little bit higher, right? One off. So this is based on the formula. You just plot in whatever you got. So for this, you expect the project manager, the team need to spend about 65,500 in order to complete the project within 4 months. Okay, only that you need to inject some money for that. So now you want to know the differences. Variance at completion, how much? So 40,000 original plan minus 53,000 just now. So you need to add more money, $13,333 USD or ringgit Malaysia. Okay, so for a typical variance is a bit higher. It will be a 25,000 ringgit. Or 25,000 USD, different ringgit and USD, lots of difference. Okay, for this is the books is USD. This is supposed to be USD, 25,000 USD, right? So, okay, again, you need to know for each one that you spend, right? For each one that you plan to spend, okay, what are the to complete performance index? Okay, the ratio for each one, for each money that you spend. So you just calculate 40,000, just plot. Okay, now you are all open book, so less stress. Okay, less stress to to memorize, to remember all the formula and so on. But in the open book style of question, there will be a situation which you need to analyze and reflect. Okay, analyze and reflect the numbers here. Right, okay, for this one it will be 1.06. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, banyak tak datang hari ni, only 37 of you actually online. Okay, siapa yang tak datang ni? Sepatutnya I should expect about 27 plus 32. Okay, about 57 actually. Okay, 59 people, but only half of you that joined the class today. Right. Haikal, do you have any question, Haikal? I see.
Ada.
Yes. Okay.
Saya ada buat tutor hari tu. Untuk yang ni lah. Lepas tu ada question tu dia cakap dekat bulan kedua dia ada task yang dia tak siapkan. And now dekat month 5 dia nak figure out apa earn value dia dekat month tu. So saya tak sure macam mana nak buat yang tu sebab saya tak tahu kena consider month kedua punya ke tak perlu ke.
Okay, the questions is actually, okay, the progress, they want to calculate the progress during month 2, right, of the project. Tapi dia nak tahu berapa, bukan earn value kot, the hujung tu berapa cost of estimation cost at the end of those. Estimation cost ke atau value?
Dia tanya earn value.
Oh, the earn value towards
Of
the end project.
Of month 5.
The earn value of month 5 meanings that they want to know in another way of saying it, with whatever situation that might happen in month 2, total cost at estimation, total cost at completion, berapa sebenarnya you should expect. Okay, selalunya, okay, because I kena tengok balik soalan tu apa, soalan you. Tapi actually, when you are at month, second month, right? So you already do the calculation, but the total cost of estimation is actually based on the from month 3 to month 5 yang akan covered. Yang tu yang awak akan buat variances tu. Bila variances, contohnya dekat month originally the project should finish in 5 months kan. Okay, tapi dia dah over schedule dekat month 2. Month 2 dah lebih dah. Dia dah over budget, overtime and so on. Then pada month 5 tu, dia nak tahu with this condition berapa sebenarnya dia kena top up lagi kan. So originally if the project cost about 50,000, based on your earn value calculation, again from month 3 to month 5 kena recalculate again budget, the new budget at completion. Based on month 3 until month 5 tu lah. Okay. So kena calculate balik nanti maksudnya. Siapa tanya tadi? Azim Alamak saya lupa.
Saya.
Tak, Asif Saya tak nampak sebenarnya.
Haikal Zakwan tadi.
Okay. So Haikal biasanya macam tak cuma total cost of completion, biasanya dia akan kira keseluruhan. Tapi earn value tu akan calculate daripada month 3 sampai month 5. Itu dia punya way of doing it. Okay.
Alright, Doctor.
Cuma Haikal, saya kena tengok balik soalan tu. Kadang-kadang soalan tu dia a bit tricky sikit.
Ni dekat chat Nazmi ada post soalan tu.
Okay, dekat chat Okay. Nazmi nak buka tu soalan dia. Sekejap. During month 5, it is found that some of the work that was reported complete in month 2 was considered unacceptable. Okay. It will require 5,000 to fix the problem and make this work acceptable. Maknanya dia need additional money. Okay, require 5,000. The work is scheduled to be done in month 6. Okay, the report complete in month 2. No other work is reported to be completed during month 5. What is the earned value for month 5? Okay, so it will require 5,000. Kalau ini soalan a complete question ke?
Dekat atas tu ada dia punya data lagi. Cumulative dia punya value.
Okay. Itulah saya kata, kalau bagi saya soalan ni nak menjawab ni susah juga. Mana lagi information dia. Okay. So, dekat sana adalah earn value and so on, right? So, what is the earn value for month 5? Okay, kalau earn value for month 5, you kena calculate, okay, first what actual cost being given ke?
Yes, Haikal ada tunjuk yang untuk yang data value tu.
Okay, bagi-bagi pula, Haikal pula ada Okay, okay, so you calculate actual cost during month 5 is found that some of the work that was reported complete in month 2 was considered acceptable. Okay, maknanya masa month 2 sampai month 5, you are already behind schedule, dah 3 months behind schedule. Okay, then you will need to redo the work in month 6. So, bulan 3, bulan 4, bulan 5. Ada 3 bulan yang behind schedule dah. So, what is the earned value for month 5? Meaning that month 5 kalau dia buat, what is the earned value for month 5? Kalau dia buat dekat month 5, maknanya maknanya the whole project tu 6 bulan The whole project is 6 bulan ke?
Ikut question dia tulis 8 bulan.
8 bulan. Okay, maknanya kena calculate lah, kena complete the whole thing lah sebenarnya. Maknanya Haikal dekat month 5 tu kena divide accordingly. Possible tak kalau divide accordingly? Buat macam tadi, tapi dia ada additional 5,000 that will be included dekat you punya budget. 5,000 maknanya actual cost macam tadi tu, soalan tadi tu dia akan instead of 2,000 task 2. So task 2 example ada 5 bulan, ada tambah lagi instead of 2,000 ada tambah lagi 1,000. So 3,000. So whatever that value that you have in month 5 ni, the actual cost or whatever you got, awak kena tambah your calculation, tambah lagi 5,000 kat situ. Ini maksudnya memanglah, of course dia akan over schedule, over budget. But you want to know what is the earned value that you got. So 5,000 campur whatever actual cost that you have, campur dengan how much that you should be paying, itulah the earned value that you got tadi tu. Ni. Aikal faham tak maksud saya?
Faham tak tu?
Okay.
Alright.
Campurkan whatever, saya pun nak kena tengok the whole question sebenarnya. Whatever money that you dapat, the cost, masukkan dalam calculation of that month 5 tu. Kalau ada actual cost that we mentioned. Okay, kalau tu nanti boleh share lah dia punya soalan, how it looks like and so on to get the whole overview of the question. Bagi sikit-sikit tu saya agak-agak je actually. Right?
Alright.
Okay, try kalau ni boleh bagi saya the whole complete question. Alright, good question to be asked. Okay, so this is the total complete TCPI. Okay, and for each one you just calculate again based on the formula. So of course for typical variance, the value is only 0.75 and the productivity that you got is only 0.59. And this is the nice table to refer to. Dia buatkan semua complete. For kalau I repeat, if previously if it is not a non-face-to-face type of exam, okay, of course you need to really understand each one of these, okay, memorize and so on. But here you need to adjust to understand accordingly, like what the question that been asked by Haikal and the team just now. Yeah, so refer to this. How this is but the question is very direct, just to visualize what the earned value is. So another way of calculating the earned value without consider the typical variance, the atypical variance, the earned value, actual cost and so on. A simple way is just you calculate, you want to get what the actual value that the work that been completed. Senang je awak you just time, okay, the planned value that you need and the estimation of completion for that project. So task A 100% complete, so what you spend is what you get. But task C, you plan to have about 2,000, but you earn value whatever the actual cost that you got, plan percent complete is only 75%. The 25, another 25% is the value that you lost. So it will be you only manage to get the value of 1,500. Okay, yang lebih 500 ringgit tu tak dapat, tak complete, project tak complete, and you need more extra time. Okay, you need for the task might need extra time to be completed, right? So basically, the task is not fully completed. Okay, task C, task D, task E, you need to have another 125% if you calculated cumulatively. Another 125% is not being completed. Kalau boleh kira macam itulah, ya. Kena tambah lagi, dan tapi the task is dah sampai hujung. However, need to go back like the question of Haikal just now. Nak kena sambung balik buat. Project E habis, kena sambung maybe in month 6 for example, redo again. Okay, redo the project C, task C. And then you need to calculate more money. Does it So in order when you want to redo, it might not necessary you include another 500, might not be that. Mungkin lebih, mungkin 2,000 tambah lagi sebab dia dah over budget, dah masa dah berlalu and you need to hire more people for example. Okay, so need to redo and restructure of the to replanning, to do the planning of the budget for each one of this and need to do the calculation. Sekarang ni value you get is only 5,000 and you lost about 125 productivity. Maknanya banyak lah sebenarnya that you lost. And the amount you lost is maybe higher than what you plan to allocate. Kalau allocate sini look like you still have 1,500. Kalau buat kat sini kan 600 minus 5,000, right? You might have another 1,500 but maybe more than that because of the due to the complexity, typical variance and so on. Okay, so this is one of the categories in order to do the project monitoring, whatever that you have just now, the calculation and so on, you need to do the review and reporting. Review, reporting, it can be in terms of status, progress reporting, forecast reporting, okay? Whatever problem that you have, this is the things that you need to share, need to communicate in a proper writing with your team members and also your project team, your project sponsor actually. Okay, among the last but not least, information distribution. Okay, we use the technology again when you decide how to communicate effectively. It will be based on the situation of the organization. If it is a same time, different place, you might use technology that you might apply, same time, different place, meaning that you inshallah you work with people in Cawangan. So you might use teleconference like what we have here now. We are at the same time but different places. Mana-mana semuanya, Abid dekat mana, Hafiz dekat mana and so on. Muhammad Hafiz ada ke? Muhammad Hafiz, Muhammad Nasiruddin. Are you there, Hafiz?
Ada.
Hafiz. Hafiz kat mana, Hafiz?
Ada.
Dekat kedai makan ke? Bukan kan?
Rumah.
Okay. Baik, Hafiz depan komputer. Alright. Kod multitasking ke?
Rumah.
Okay, rumah. Okay, thank you. Alright, so if you have a different time, different place. Okay, for example, Hafiz, what is different time, different place? Apa situation dia, Hafiz? Contoh?
Apa?
Kalau different time, your team member different time, different place. Situation mana yang selalunya macam tu? Waktu dia berlainan. Where is your another team member will be allocated? Actually. Selalunya kalau different time, different place.
Maybe macam rumah ke atau country lain ke.
Okay, country lain.
Dekat negara berbeza.
Yes. Okay, betul. Okay, good, Hafiz. Alright, different time, different place, negara berbeza, different time zone. Right? So same time, same place, samalah kelas kita hybrid tu, kelas face to face. Different time, same place, okay? Maybe you work in shift. Okay, I work in the morning, Hafiz work in the afternoon, for example, shift ni. So the technology will be electronic mail and you might list down what the other technology as well. So this is just some of the example. Okay. So that's about, it is 5:40. Just give me additional extra. Can I finish at 6:10? Bagi saya sikit je lagi. Okay. Just a few minutes. Alamak. Okay. Just a few minutes. I'm sharing with you guys the SOW. Nur Syuhada. Nur Syuhada ada ke?
Ada, Doktor.
Okay, Syuhada, what do you see on your screen now?
SOW.
Okay, it's audible. Thank you. Okay, today we going to cover chapter 8 and chapter 9. Okay, just give me another 30 minutes to cover this. Right. Next week, the class I will cover chapter 10. Alright. Week 11, I will cover chapter 10. But for the tutorial session, we're going to move your tutorial session for everybody who are taking this course this semester at Shah Alam. Okay, there will be tutorial session. We have invited the speaker from US. He will be here face to face. Dia akan datang ke fakulti kita face to face, and he delighted to deliver a project, a lecture related to completing project regarding Agile and Scrum technique. Okay, we learned that in chapter 1, but in a very broad, general lecture for that. Okay, dalam berapa minit dia cover tu sikit, just a little bit Scrum in chapter 1 tu, chapter 2 actually. Okay, but here he will explain a little bit more. Okay, how to use that method in your project. Okay, just listen to him. So you guys, all those in part 6, of course you guys are all invited. Bukan dijemput tetapi wajib datang, right? But we move instead of your session is, if I'm not mistaken, maybe some of you in Friday, some of you on Thursday, some of you on Monday actually, I believe, bukan Monday, Wednesday. Tapi kelas tu kita shiftkan ke 24th June Jumaat from 2:30 to 5 PM. Okay, possible? Okay, sebab kita dapat free tau, dia datang tanpa bayaran. So please do appreciate the effort. We import from US. Okay, learn this from the expert. Be physical. Dia memang excited to see UITM student face to face. Sebab dia pun first time seeing student kita, student Melayu ni, dia nak jumpa face to face and so on. He is very look forward for this. So we're going to do a hybrid. So about 86 of you will be face to face. Another part 6, part 4 and part 5 where they are not in the campus. Okay, dia akan ikuti through online. Right? So, and then in week 12, we're going to have a chapter 11. Okay, last chapters of that. And during week 13 and 14, be prepared for the presentation, group presentation, so on. Okay, so I'm going to share this, just some changes on the project, on the plan. I will share with you guys through WhatsApp after this, right? Okay, so can I just continue? Just give me another 30 minutes to finish up chapter 9. Chapter 9 is quite straightforward again, right? Which I want to emphasize a little bit more on the method of why project quality is important. Okay. Boleh bagi saya sekejap, a few minutes more. I will finish at 6:10, insyaAllah, right? After this, you can, for following week and so on, kita akan finish on time, insyaAllah, right? So the learning objective for chapter 9 here, first of all, you will learn what are the project quality management is. Actually, from chapter 1 until now, you've been learning on the quality. Why you need to monitor, why you need to manage risk, why you need to do the earned value, why you need to calculate, to plan the task, what we call that, apa tu, yang chapter 5 to PERT analysis and so on, to plan according to the task, to provide the Gantt chart is all because of the quality. You want to determine the quality of the project. You want to know throughout the process, it follow the benchmark, right? And of course, when the process are following the procedures according to the time, according to the budget, everybody is productive, everybody follow the rules and so on. Of course, it will reflect the output of the project itself. The system will function correctly, for example, okay, and it fulfills the needs of the customer. That's why it is very important. It improves the product and process itself. And we will talk about the certain gurus and so on. And most important, when talk about the capability and maturity, we are talking about one of the most popular, one of the popular maturity model that you can use to show how good your organization are in benchmarking with the others competitors. The framework will provide you with this technique, the standard, okay, the standard that can be used. And of course, you as all of you are all in project, FYP project. Of course, you need to know how to, the differences between validation and verification. Of course, these two process are the process under to ensure that the project is follow the quality based on the needs of the user, the needs of the customer of the system, right? And last, what are the quality concept tools that will be used to be applied throughout the project? So what I can say, chapter 9 is actually the wrap up of what you have learned, in 10 body of knowledge. Bila dah buat, how you want to define the quality. Make sure the process is good, the product is good. That is the most important. So this chapter is actually the wrap up of all what you have learned so far. So what is the quality? Is a inherent and distinguishing characteristic, having a high degree of excellence, meaning that it fulfill the needs. Bagus, awak tengok pun, wah, suka, the project is zero error, right? The project the product is zero error, the system that you develop, okay, and also it follow the rules, it follow the timing given, it follow the budget given, and so on, right? So functionality works and all those things, okay? And in order to do that, it will link with the quality policy, objective, and responsibility. It's not easy to be done. Mesti the quality culture is there. Everybody in the team understand what the quality is, and it become a culture in the organization or in the team itself. Barulah boleh capai a very good quality of the project and process in terms of responsibility, in terms of the project objective, and so on. So for this one, the project quality management, this is the key area, continuous environment. And you need to plan. Kalau tak plan apa-apa, memang tak akan capai. Right? Planning is important. Okay? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So again, the planning is involved in all the project life cycle. And quality assurance, okay, what are the techniques, policy, metrics that you use? And of course, okay, you need to do the controlling, apply with a certain policy, metrics, and tools here. So, kena control. The earned value is one of the technique used in order to control the performance of the project throughout the time. So, project quality basically, they focus on the project deliverable, right? Deliverable meaning that for each task, dalam Gantt chart, I'll keep reminding you guys, kena ada output for each task, for each stage of your project. So of course, deliverable is something that tangible, that you actually submit, that people can read, people can see, people can experience. So whatever you do, deliverables need to fulfill the needs of the quality, the system itself, IT solution. But in order to have a good quality of all this, of course, it needs to be guided by a certain process. Maknanya, in managing the scope, in managing the risk, in identifying the requirements, in doing the design, in doing the implementation, it needs to follow the right process of system development life cycle or the project management life cycle, which what you have learned from chapter 1 to chapter 10 today, to chapter 9 today, right? So here you apply all those, then only you can move towards high quality project. So that's to show you the impact of rework. The more rework you do, the more tasks that need to do the rework, the more tasks that will be delayed, the more cost that will be delayed. Dotted line tu menunjukkan bahawa dia move towards, divert to what the actual plan is. So we want to omit all this. Alright, patah balik, implement, salah, patah balik, define requirement, pergi balik jumpa user. For each stage, there will be a problem. So it shouldn't be that way of doing things actually. So for the quality of policy, just to ni, you bacalah ya, people that the gurus of the project, quality project, right? Frederick W. Taylor's, this is during the Industrial Revolution, which they really emphasize on the how many the output, the product itself, without considering the people. Only after Industrial Revolution there will be a union. Work union and so on, which fight for the humans punya kebajikan, welfare, people works welfare and so on. Starting from that, then only they start looking at the people punya ni lah, right? So in order to understand, we related to the system development or the software development. One of the method, the model that we use is a capability maturity model integration. Okay, which even though it mentioned that it can be developed to know the maturity model, the capability of the organization in achieving the maturity or towards the system development, but it can also apply to another discipline actually, right? Which CMMI mostly are focusing on the process in the developing the project. Okay, the system information system project. Okay, they look into the process itself, they look into the process capability, process performance, and process maturity. What they look like? Okay, this is what the CMMI process maturity is and the key area under that process. Okay, level 1 is still at the initial process, which at this stage you develop awareness, you are at the stage, the organization and the team member during this stage, they are aware the importance of identifying to follow the good project management stages. All right, good to follow the SDLC in developing the project, which they understand, they aware, they compile, they put a proper, they compile, they collect, they develop the process in doing the project. Okay, meaning that masih ni tak ada lagi key process, they are at the stage of developing. However, during level 2, repeatable, okay, this is when you already develop the first project, right? You keep doing this from all those. You follow the project management life cycle, you follow the system development life cycle, and also the 10 body of knowledge of project management. Here, when you come to the second project, you develop another project, you've been given another project, you be able to repeat what you have done in the previous stage. So now become standard, process become standard, and you kemas kini. You make it consistent, you put it in a proper manner, and you make some classification. During that time, you'll be able to configure, you'll be able to monitor the quality assurance of the project or the new project. You know, be able to manage the subcon of the project, able to monitor, to do the tracking, be able to do the planning. So you plan in advance, and also the requirement in order to avoid the rework just now. You know how to manage the requirements, how to do the analysis, how to identify requirement, what needs to be done, for example, and so on, right? So this one is in a proper place already. But when you start process, you do some prediction, process are predictable. Okay, you are at level 3 where you be able to guide other people. Now you can duplicate whatever you have, a standard that you have developed previously. Now you can do another different project, a bigger project that involve a different coordination, different integration of the project with other team. With other team from other organization, for example. Here, you'll be able to do the peer review. Awak pula boleh evaluate dia punya project, for example. Okay, ni kan integration, right? Project integration. You'll be able to guide the other people. You do the intergroup coordination. You do the integration of the product management. Boleh combine kan, you integrate, you know where the project life cycle, how the project life cycle in what stage can be integrated, what are the technique, what are the standard, what are the reporting, things that you can refer, and you can give a training, and you can redefine, you can do the process re-engineering, you can update, you can what we call that, enhance the existing process, right? And it more on a process focus. Dekat level 3 ni, bukan awak saja, you are expand another group, for example. And you are at level 4 when you can do the quality management and quantitative process. Everything in a proper place. Masa ni, you dah boleh buat your own standards already. Okay, you already know within your group, you are doing great. With the other group also, you are doing great. Now you compile all those, put your own standard of project management life cycle, for example, or system development life cycle using Scrum, kalau nak pakai Agile, and so on, right? So you are at the level 4, to be able to manage and also continuously train the other people. And you at the level 5, okay, continuously, of course, you manage. Okay, you are at level 5, the organization, the team, and so on. If you be able to re-engineer, you can see that this is a problem. So you should be able to tap what are the problem with the project and make some changes. Okay, you can adapt, do some adaptation in terms of process, do some adaptation and adoption of the technology change. And here at this stage, you can defect prevention, zero error at this stage. Normally organization in Japan Okay, organization is well established. They are moving towards, they are all at a level 5, right? So based on this characteristic, so you know this is a some benchmark. Where are you now and what you need to do in order to move to a upper level and so on. Okay, read CMMI. There are many articles talking about CMMI. There are many research being done that apply CMMI in very different industry. Okay, refer to that. Right. So here for the explanation, CMMI level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, and so on. Okay. And of course, all those, whatever we have learned from slide 1 to slide 18, they are a quality philosophy principle. They are quality standard process metrics that you need to follow with what you have learned, and how to apply whatever metrics that you have, and how to make corrections after you apply, how to control, how to plan, make sure that it can fulfill moving towards the quality that what you plan to have. And last is you need to learn, improve and mature, which you can share with the others and to guide the other team members. So this is a project quality. And talk about that, okay, those 5 things that you learn, normally quality, focus and satisfaction. We are going for prevention, not inspection. Meaning that daripada awal dah kata kita tak nak salah. We do not want the project to be over budget. We do not want the project to be behind schedule. Okay, so you monitor, you prevent, okay, to make sure that everybody none of the team member left the project. So you manage the risk correctly, you put the contract and all those things, right? And in order to come up with the project standard and metrics, okay, it will be a project oriented or it can be a product oriented. Okay, project oriented, the process itself. And the product oriented is the system itself. And it got to have these factors. Kena reliable, kena usable, kena accurate and so on. And the metrics should focus on the project, the managing the project, that is the process, and also it will reflect of the product itself. Okay, the system that you develop, right? So this one, again, macam saya cakap, this is the repetition of what you have learned in previous chapter. Okay, the verification of the system that you develop to ensure that iteration, the system are on track, fulfill the needs of the user. You need for each stage, you need to do verification. For example, requirement. When you collect the requirement, you analyze and you show the requirements. You do the for example, the storyboard of that requirements, a prototype, right? So that requirement, you go back to your user, verify balik, betul tak? The verification can involve in terms of technical, in terms of the review, they do the based on qualitative, or maybe you present to the management, they see in terms and they just provide the review accordingly. Okay, feedback, opinion and so on. Or the whole thing, you can do a validation. Last kali boleh buat validation. Verification normally at every stage. Validation, the whole thing lah, product oriented activity. The product, the user itself, the whole product itself, whether it's fulfilled, validate for each button, validate the process in using the system. And how to do this too is, of course, will follow the testing. User testing, unit testing and so on. Okay, in order to do the quality control, yang ini dah belajar dah semua. Okay, nak tahu managing risk last time. Okay, in chapter 8, this is a repetition. You can do the statistical control. Okay, you monitor the performance of your e-commerce project. You monitor the performance of the e-commerce system that you develop, right? Through the error that happened. You do the testing, UAT, you did testing and so on. Okay, it can reflect using the statistical control. Ataupun boleh buat dalam bentuk cause and effect, which you list down whatever risk, whatever problems that face regarding the, for example, one big problem, and the problem will be based on the classification of sub factors. Okay, ini satu contoh ni, nak find out that to ensure that the problem will not happen again. Alah, tension betul saya. Okay, bising ya. Sekarang ni dia dah sampai ke belah sini pula. Tadi saya lari sekejap kan. Okay, parameter chart. Okay, this one, whatever feedback that you got, you do it in a, put it in a proper compile the problems during the testing that you do. Okay, and you do the classification and put it in a diagram for the team member to see. Then for this, you come up with a solution, how to go about. And some of the quality control tools, okay, checklist. Okay, this one is more on business process engineering, and another one will be on the statistical analysis. Okay, you want to avoid this, yang outcast. Kalau boleh, performance of the project should be within bell shape, menunjukkan what we call that a normal curve of the feedback of that situation. Okay, and last but not least, what you have learned from chapter 1 until chapter 9, you need to do your knowledge management tools. Okay, whatever you learn from in terms of project management, in terms of the system development and so on, be able to put it, compile through the best practices, through team learning and through best practices writing, for example, case study dan sebagainya lah. Okay, buatlah dokumen, disseminate lesson learned, and of course, make sure the continual improvement and project quality plan should become the culture of the organization. Make sure everybody know everybody have their own responsibility and accountable with whatever their contribution to the project. Mesti semua orang kena buat kerja dia dengan cara yang betul, efektif and tepat. Mesra, betul dan tepat. Mesra tu tak payah ada pun tak apa. Okay, but in the team mestilah ada lah, right? Okay, in the team, okay, mesti betul dan tepat with whatever you have learned. Right? So that's about chapter 9. Okay. So I finished exactly 9-8. Any questions so far?
No.
So you all dah tak lama nak dengar saya cakap.
No, Doctor.
Okay. So no question. Okay, it's already 6:10. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any question related to your tutorial question just now or anything that relate for chapter 8 and 9, my explanation and so on, you can always WhatsApp me. Yeah, boleh tanya jugalah. Okay, Zikri, nanti I will update you. And your team. Maybe we need to see on this Wednesday, Zikri. Is it possible?
Wednesday for the 6B class got 8 to 10, 8 sampai 10.
Sampai 10. Lepas lunch boleh tak? Sebab saya ada kerja lah. Bukan, saya ada meeting pagi tu.
Lepas lunch insya-Allah. Nanti maksudnya doktor nak jumpa saya seorang ke atau nak jumpa tim-tim yang lain juga?
Tim dengan Cik Nazira sekali. Nanti saya message awak
Okey, boleh.
Alright. Okay. Thank you Zikri and the team, whoever will be the AJK. Alright. See you guys and take care everybody. Bye. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.